Hi, crafty friends. Okay, guys, so we are going to do 3 different projects with these Dollar Tree hats. And if you can't find the hats at your Dollar Trees, no worries, because you can also get these same textured placemats. So the placemats would work great too. My Dollar Tree just randomly put out a bunch of these hats. So that's why I was like, oh, let's use those. So the first project we're going to do, we're going to make it into a Christmas tree. So I'm just using some extra poster board that I have just to make the shape that we want. And once we get that done and we get the bottom all cut and everything, to the size that we want, I'm going to use some masking tape and just tape all of the edges down just to hold everything in place. And you saw that I took the hat apart. It's the same way with the placemats. If you just use a little seam ripper or even a little pair of scissors, it's almost like fishing line that holds those together. So once you clip that, it's just easy peasy, comes right apart, and then you can just take out that fishing line. So it probably would have been a lot easier. Okay, listen, let me just tell you this. Hi, if you're new to the page, I like to craft and do things wrong, so that way I can show you. No, I'm kidding. But a lot of times I make it a little bit harder than it should be. So I'd like to share with you guys, you could make this so much easier. So this is the only poster board that I had. I should have just used a white poster board. It would have been a whole heck of a lot easier. Or I could have covered the whole thing with masking tape. Because once I started putting on the little woven pieces, you could see through. You sure could. So then I was like, okay, how do we fix this? Oh, wait, I've got some really cool chalk paint that's a very similar color. So I was like, I'll just put some chalk paint over the top. And it actually really turned out cool. So it's kind of like one of those happy accidents. But again, I could have just used some of the masking tape to cover it up too. So I'm going to stuff some tissue. I've got some bags. I got a whole bunch of extra stuff that I always just hold on to because I'm like, we can use this for something. I just wanted to make it a little bit more sturdy. And then once I got all of that on there, I just kind of taped across the bottom so it would lay nice and flat. So here's where I just started wrapping all the way around the tree with the hat. And I love the texture of this and how it's going to look. I just, love, love, love. And you, like I said, had I done a, white or something underneath it, you wouldn't even have had to paint it if you wanted to leave it natural, or you could paint it any color you want. These things paint up wonderfully. I've done it before with the hats and the placemats since they're the same material. So easy peasy there. So once we get to the tippy top, then we are going to pull out the chalk paint. And like I said, it's a very similar color. And I'm just using a sponge brush. That would be a brush because it's much easier just to kind of dab it in rather than like painting back and forth. And then it gets into all the little nooks and crannies. So once that is done, it took me a while just to get the whole thing done. And then I set it aside to dry because I wanted to make sure that every little piece of this was done. I added some pearls and look how adorable this is. Gosh, I love, love, love. All right, so project number 2, we're going to use these 2 grilling trays, I guess they are, grilling pans, I don't know. I got them at Dollar General, and they're really easy to mold into the shape that you want. So we are going to use 2 of them, and we're going to make this into a cornucopia. Okay, I think that just sounds funny. Like, did I say it right? Let me know in the comments. I'm pretty sure I said it right, but it just sounds funny. I've said it like 10 times, and now I don't know which one's right. But anyways, I used some zip ties. So once I kind of got it to the shape that I wanted, I was like, all right, zip tie, hold that in place. And then with the second one of these, I'm going to cut it in half. And we're going to use on the bigger part there just to kind of finish it off because there are some uneven edges, as you can see there. And then the other part we're going to use on the end to make kind of like the little swoopy swoop. Maybe I gave more and more of a swoop than we should. But once you cut this stuff, just be careful. It's a little bit pokey if you decide to do this. But using the little zip ties that I got at Dollar Tree worked great because they have all different sizes. I love the little ones for crafting. So I'm going to cut this apart. And then, like I said, we're going to do one piece on the open end, and then the other one we're going to make the little swoop part to the cornucopia. So then I was like, okay, I can't put the hat right over the top of this. Well, the pieces of the hat, because again, we're going to take apart 2 hats. I ended up using almost all of 2 on this. So I decided to go through my little scrap pile of fabrics that I have, and I decided just to wrap it in some fabric. And then that way I could take the woven pieces from the hat and just hot glue to that, like as another placeholder. And that ends up working out great. So you could also use burlap, and heck, if you didn't want to use the hat, you wouldn't have to. Here's the hat I'm talking about that we're going to take apart. So totally up to you, however you want to do it. But the way this turned out, obsessed with this woven material. So obsessed. So here, as you can see, is where I start hot gluing the fabric on. And again, it wasn't perfectly perfect because we are going to be covering this up anyways. It was just somewhere where I could hot glue and not see through to the silver pan or trays that we use there. So I also tucked over on the bigger end some of that fabric into it, so it gave it more of a clean edge. So then I just start hot gluing and wrapping to my heart's content. Because again, this did take a little bit much, but I didn't use, again, a little bit hot glue, and then I would go into another spot. I didn't hot glue every single little area, and that actually worked out really well. So look how stinking cute this is. Love everything. Love, love, love. All right, friends, are you ready for number 3? Okay, project number 3, super duper easy. Again, we have one of the hats. We're going to take it apart. And if this is where you're listening and you hadn't heard before, if you can't find these hats at the Dollar Tree, no worries. They also have placemats that you could use. So I was also going to use that fabric. And then when I started doing this, I was like, you know what? I don't want to use the fabric. I totally changed my mind what I wanted to do, because we're going to make a little decorative bowl out of this. I was thinking it would be cute. I've got this little plant that would be cute to set in there. But then after I took the picture, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm taking this up to my bathroom, and all like my little hair ties and clippies and all that stuff, I'm just going to set them inside of this. So once I got the shape that I wanted, then I was like, oh, I forgot to take the flower off. So I'm going to take the flower off. And then there was a lot of hot glue from when they put the flower on. So I decided to cut it a little bit more and pull a little bit more of the woven part off of the bowl, just to kind of try to make it like an even-ish kind of bowl. And then what we'll do is we will just hot glue that edge down. Once we get that totally done, I am going to, my favorite thing when I go thrifting, friends, is finding those little Ziploc baggies that are like full of, lace and ribbon and stuff that people have collected and they've just never done anything with it. Yeah. Those are my favorite things, because I went into my collection and pulled out some, actually I ended up with 2 ribbons that were kind of matching the color of this woven material a little bit. And we are just going to hot glue that right around the edge, make it super easy. Again, you could paint this if you wanted to, but I'm digging the natural color. But if you painted it, you could do like some fun decorative ribbon across the top, or however you want to do it. The lace that I'm using, like I said, I'm going to do 2 different kinds. I thought layering it up would be good. So I started with the one that was a little bit wider. And then once we got that all the way around, you can see it there, we'll go over the top of that with the smaller one. And then the smaller one is a little bit more of like a ruffle kind of look. So I thought that would be super fun too. But again, you could totally do this any way that you want to. So if you don't have, like I said, if you can't find these hats, you could even do this same thing with a placemat, just going over a bowl to get the shape you wanted. Same thing, but the hat really makes this part of it super duper easy, because you've got that shape already there. So again, once we get this all together, I think this is about the part where I was like, wait a minute, I'm using this in my bathroom. I'm going to put my hair stuff in it, because I thought that would be super fun. But for the picture, I ended up adding a plant in there. And friends, I just think easy projects are my favorite thing to do. And I love when you can take a hat, and make it into something completely different. So I hope you have enjoyed these 3 different projects. I enjoyed putting them together. I've got some other ideas in my mind, but check out how cute that is. Oh my gosh. All right, friends, subscribe for more.